Michael also writes that Lego has transcended its status as a children's toy and evolved into a powerful tool for creativity, learning, and relaxations at all stages of life, from fostering imagination and problem solving skills in children to promoting stress reduction and mindfulness in adults. Lego's appeal is timeless and universal. And I think that's a really great kind of footnote there. Again, this is sort of an op-ed from Michael Savage, but I think it's a nice kind of uh, summary of kind of his point. And I would definitely agree.
Hello, bricks, chicks, and minifigures. You are listening to AFOLs Welcome, where we talk about all things Lego from the perspective of two adult collectors. We are your co-host. I'm Grinch.
And I'm West.
And I totally forgot the line there, but that's okay. Today, we will be talking about the therapeutic benefits of Lego. But before we get into that, like always, we're going to talk about some exciting Lego news. So, West, why don't you kick us off with some news? Exciting Lego news.
All right. So for this exciting Lego news, I promise we'll keep it under or a lot shorter.
Under 50 minutes?
Yeah, than the 50 minutes from our last episode. We don't have a whole month of news to catch up on, but I'm going to knock these out, and then Grinch, let's talk about them one by one as we, with whatever we think is important here. So first off, one of the things we didn't mention last week was the Dungeons and Dragons collectible minifigure series, which has come out. There were some leaked images of the Star Wars 25th anniversary. I'm calling it a battle pack, but it's a combo of the Rebels and Imperial dropship battle packs from that was both revisited in the 20th anniversary and was one of the first battle packs that Lego ever released. There were revealed images of the Wicked sets, which was kind of cool. The ideas announcements came out announcing the Italian Riviera and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory finalists. There was some news about Nightmare Before Christmas and Lego partnering with Asmodee to bring or to develop new board games. And then finally, I have a buyer's alert for anyone interested in a good deal on a Lego set. So Grinch, take it away. Anything about the news this week that stood out to you?
Ooh, well, Mav Bricks on Instagram sent us the information about the Asmodee collaboration between Lego to help bring new board games. I guess Lego board games, which I'm super intrigued by. Trying to not get my hopes up too high because obviously there could be a couple big heavy hitters here. So if you don't know, Asmodee produces the Settlers of Catan game as well as Ticket to Ride, which are two games that I really, really like. Both are awesome games. Anytime I see a Settlers of Catan on Lego Ideas, I always go and vote for it. So my conservative guess is that they're going to do something unique and different and not necessarily like Lego Catan, but it could be a partnership that could potentially lead to Lego Catan. So I'm very excited about that.
Dude, Lego Catan would be so awesome. Like a licensed Lego Catan.
Like you have to like click them. I mean, it'd be somewhat annoying to like set up, but
yeah,
would you actually use it? Or because like if you like Catan, you already have Catan. So would you just like build it and just put it on display and just be like, I like Lego and Catan, or would you actually like play on it? Because I feel like you'd do it once and then you'd be like, it's just way easier to set up the board.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. I'd have to mull on that a little bit. I'd love to say I'd probably use it and play with it, but at the same time too, I'm not entirely sure. So, and I'm sure they'd have to adjust it in some capacity, right? Like it wouldn't be as simple. I feel like it couldn't be that neat. Like there's no multiverse where we get like a Lego Catan that's just a Lego-ified Catan. It's just there's gonna have to be some gimmick in it, some building a tile challenge or something like that, or I don't know. So, but I was just thinking about Ticket to Ride and how like a Legoized Ticket to Ride would be really fun too. But yeah,
I feel like they'd go maybe the direction of like the original Lego Racers, where they had like the cardboard track and board,
yeah,
but then you had like the Lego pieces on it, maybe.
I think that would be a really good middle ground where for something like Ticket to Ride specifically,
Mm-hmm.
where like you kept maybe like the art design in the game is Lego, like Lego trains themed,
Right.
and then like the trains themselves are made out of Lego or like small Lego models, but you're not actually making like track on a board. You know what I mean? Like yeah, the board game
Right.
piece itself is still cardboard. So I think that would be a good version of that. That could be played for a long time. That you wouldn't have to invest a ton of money into either. It wouldn't be super expensive, but also wouldn't be like overly burdensome to the builder. So, but anyways, yeah, that's
Well,
exciting.
they also make like more miniature games too,
Yeah,
like like deck building kind of card games with miniatures. So maybe that's the way that they go.
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
yeah. What else Grinch stood out for you?
Well, it didn't really stand out as per se like the set standing out, but the response stood out, which was Lego Wicked, because those sets were leaked and then immediately taken down by Universal. And I believe Falcon Fan got in trouble for it, but like Universal came out and were like, "Nah, this is not happening," and just started sending DMCA's to people who had posted pictures of Wicked.
Which is
So I thought
yeah,
that was kind of interesting.
uh, yeah. I saw the pictures when they came out and were revealed. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the IP, so
Yeah, I mean it's not for me.
we'll see. Yeah, it's always interesting. For those who didn't see it, I don't have the pictures right in front of me. I'm sure you can find them online. The minifigure scales we're using, the mini dolls, kind of in
Mm-hmm.
line with Disney's theme. And then there were some like larger buildable figures, not quite the
Mm-hmm.
size of like the Harry Potter buildable minifigures, but somewhere in between. More,
A little bit smaller than the action figure from Marvel.
yeah, yeah. So that was kind of interesting to see. I did note I saw the Ideas Italian Riviera and Charlie the Chocolate Factory got into the finalists, so that was exciting to see. Or not
Mm-hmm.
finalists, but got picked up. So it'll be interesting to see where Lego takes both of those. The Italian Riviera set really just looks like a modular, so that's going to be kind of interesting too
Yeah.
because they just announced the Botanicals set, which will probably be a modular, but is going to be fairly large. And now this one, I don't mind those sets in modular form. The lighthouse was kind of a modular. The A-frame you could put on a base plate and turn it into a modular. Like that wasn't difficult.
Was the lighthouse on a base plate?
Lighthouse was on a base plate, yeah.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that.
they've had a few. I mean, there was the fishing store, right? That's been kind of a popular modular. So I don't hate that idea. Kind of in line with this is the Bricklink Designer Program actually came out and said, don't make modulars anymore. Like we won't
Right.
accept them. And they even went as far as to say you can't do the sidewalks and lamppost combinations. They said avoid those if you want it to get picked up. They said don't do the base plate design if you're going to build it in such a way that it separates like a modular, like it could get denied for all those reasons. There's been a lot of people upset online about this. I think it's kind of silly to be upset about it, right? Like Lego is basically saying like,
Yeah, I honestly support it.
yeah, we're trying to protect the brand of modulars.
Yeah.
And at the same time too, like if you really want a modular that bad, you can go get instructions off of Rebrickable and build it yourself. The Bricklink Designer Program is
Yeah.
great, but it's basically just fancier Rebrickable, right? Like but
Well,
voting
and I think
on.
they're trying to also help manage expectations a little bit too, because I think the goal is to make sure that one doesn't get through all the way through the process
Mhm.
and then have everybody be disappointed because like they get their hopes up. Oh, cool, it's gonna be made, and then it obviously doesn't get made,
Yeah.
and then they're like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah.
Um,
And there's definitely something to say about brand integrity, right? Like Lego Modular has the Icon series has its own kind of like style and standard, and they don't want
mhm,
it to necessarily be just up for anyone to reinterpret in a way that is not necessarily to Lego's desired end state. I don't think
right.
that's necessarily a bad thing. I can understand why people are disappointed. I think they need to get over it. But anyways, hot take.
Yeah, 100%.
Grinch, what was going
All
on
right,
with Nightmare
so
Before Christmas? I didn't tell me more about
um,
that one.
that one looks pretty good. That was the official, well, not official reveal. I guess the leak. It was found in store. Um, I think they captured the little slope well. I'll probably pick this one up.
So was it a play? I
Showed it to
didn't
my
see the
wife.
picture. Was it a play set? What like was it a
Yeah, it's a
build?
playset.
Okay.
Yep, yep. Kind of playset slash build. It has the iconic little mountain or hill slope on it, and then his house, and I believe it's City Hall. Um, the minifigures are leaving a little bit to be desired
Yeah.
with some of the side characters, and I saw some complaints about like the actual house not being like as asymmetrical as it should be. I'm okay with that because you gotta kind of have it. I mean, it's got to stand up, right?
Yeah.
In Lego form. So, um,
I'm looking at pictures now.
but it looks pretty good. It's about kind of on par with what I expected, and I'll probably be picking this one up for sure. I did show it to my wife, who's a big fan of the IP, and she said, "Oh yeah, that looks neat."
That's a high
So,
praise for Mrs. Grinch.
I mean, it really is.
I was not able on a quick search to pull that up, so that might be buried in Reddit now. But I'm sure photos for that will officially be revealed
Yeah, pretty
shortly.
soon
Yeah,
probably because I think it's coming out in October.
yeah. Um.
All right, so
Oh yeah,
what else did we have here for the 25th anniversary battle pack?
yeah. So this was one of the last 25th anniversary sets to be revealed. This is the one where you'll actually get the KT R2D2, the pink R2D2,
Uh,
I believe.
KTDO or whatever it is.
I think so. Um,
Oh my gosh, this is gonna drive me nuts.
anyways, that's one of the last release or collectible figures for this line, and
Hmm.
it'll be released in this battle pack. And it's fun because for Grinch and myself, those battle packs, the Rebel Skiff and the Imperial Dropship, were some of the first battle packs that we ever bought. And so the 20th anniversary revisited the Imperial Dropship, but we didn't get a revisit of the Rebel Speeder. Now we get both again in the same battle pack. The only thing I think that you could maybe complain about is that there's only 3 minifigures on each, 3 Imperials, 3 Rebels. So they're kind of dialed down a little
Yeah,
bit. But it's really fun to see the evolution of this Imperial dropship, which has been a Lego non-canon vehicle for a long time and continues to
yeah,
be, and it's just fun to see them revisiting this idea. So I'm excited to
yeah.
see
This is
it.
the third iteration of it, and I believe it's a QTCT or something like that, right?
I'd have to look that up. Yeah, but an exciting way to pick up that droid,
QTKT.
QTKT. Yeah,
Yes,
and I think that QT is like cutie.
right.
Yeah,
I think the one complaint I have with it is there's no Shadow Trooper in it.
yeah, that was always a cool part of the first one. I don't think the
Yeah.
second iteration had a shadow trooper. If I'm not,
No, it did.
did it? Okay,
Yep.
so
Yep, they both did. But this dropship looks pretty cool, and I think the little scout speeder it's probably the best version of that Scout Speeder that we've gotten before.
Yeah, I always like when they put time into those little Star Wars builds because, like, as kids and very young teenagers, like those were kind of the builds like we were playing in Battlefront and stuff, and so
Mm-hmm.
those were really exciting. So
No, those are great because they were usable and massable,
yes,
right? It's not like a mini gunship that you're like, okay, why this isn't real. It's not an oversized speeder. It's actually like works in the world. So I always appreciated that.
yeah, that's exciting. It's exciting to see that image and this set being revisited again because I know
Mm-hmm.
Lego gets some shade for revisiting sets at sometimes too often, and certainly that critique is fair. This is one I'm not disappointed.
No, this one looks really good for
So
sure. And then so you had one more piece of kind of I guess a PSA type of news for everybody listening.
yeah, so this is a buyer's alert. We haven't done one of these before, but I was just at Costco earlier this morning, and we're do our
Classic suburban Sunday.
exactly and looking at the shelf for Lego and seeing what they have, and they had the MIDI scale Millennium Falcon for $70. I don't know how much that one retails for, but I think that's a
Is that one normally
I
90?
thought so. So that should be
I
a
think it's normally
pretty
89.99. Yeah,
good price.
it's pretty good.
But they also had the Lego store delivery truck. And for a long time, that one had been retailing at Costco for $75. And for listeners who remember, if you go to the Lego store, at least when it was released, it was $100 for that set. So it was
Yeah.
$25 off. Well, now they have it for $60. So a whole $40 off. And holy crap, that is a steal for what you're getting there. That is a
Mm-hmm.
price even Jang couldn't be upset about. I'm teasing. Jang's a we're big fans of Jang's, but he definitely likes to critique prices for Lego sets, and it's fair because they have gotten expensive. They are expensive. We have an episode about it if you want to take a look at it. But this is definitely a really great price for the set. So if you haven't picked one up or you want to get a second one, like I'm considering, this is a great time to do it.
Whoa, you're considering getting two.
I know it's crazy,
Dang. Dang, dang, dang.
dude. Dude,
I would if I picked them both up for 60.
yeah. Well, I picked up the first one for 75, so that was a
Right.
pretty good price. So, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
go get two of them for $60. I think the number of them that Costco has is starting to go down. So I would imagine this doesn't stick around for too long. That's a pretty significant price
Yeah.
cut, but a great one for us Lego buyers. So, Grinch, did you
Would
have?
you repurpose it?
Yeah, well, so I mean, now we're on the topic. I was thinking about the Grand Emporium modular building, and I think I've
Mm-hmm.
already seen somebody do this. But you could recolor it and kind of turn it into a Lego store itself, or kind of something similar. And then up top, instead of doing the brick built sign, those printed side pieces on that Lego truck would be perfect for like a billboard for like a Lego store.
Yeah. True. True.
Anyways,
All right. So I think that's all we had for the exciting Lego news this week. Let's go ahead and move over to our main topic. Today's topic. All right. So our main topic today is going to be the therapeutic benefits of Lego. I just wanted to make a quick disclaimer. If you're struggling from any sort of mental health concerns, please consult a doctor. But we will obviously be talking about, anxiety, stress, and stuff like that today. So, um, one ways that you can really help manage that just with your day-to-day life is through Lego. And I think, Wes, you were inspired from seeing just a couple of like pro athletes and other people out there that are in the hustle and bustle of the world discussing about how they use Lego as a therapeutic benefit in their everyday life.
yeah. So for our listeners who are maybe not connected to the larger cultural zeitgeist, if you will, or if you've been away from computers and televisions and the radio and social media for the last 3 weeks, you might not have realized, but the Paris Olympics are going on, and I believe this weekend they're wrapping up. But
Today they're wrapping up on Sunday.
Yeah, I guess that is today. There was a lot of coverage on social media and whatnot about the Paris Olympics, and I started following members of, or getting feeds into my Instagram of members of the rugby team, right? And Alona Mar has been all over Instagram. She's hilarious. If you aren't following her, I highly recommend it. It's a great time. She's one of the players on the team, but then another player on the team started popping up on my Instagram feed too, and that's Sam Sullivan. And she actually is a huge fan of Lego. And she made multiple posts while in Paris about how excited she was about Lego. And that started to catch my eye. And I was like, oh, cool. Here's this really cool pro athlete. She likes Lego. And I was kind of looking through some of her feed, and cracked me up. One of the posts she shared was that she was in the airport on the way to France, and there was a Lego store in the airport, and she was like, well, I already packed 2 sets. And then she has the post of her during the opening ceremonies building the Lego architecture Paris skyline set.
Classic.
As the opening ceremonies are going on. So, nailed it. What a great.
So is she building something right now during the closing ceremony, or just staring at her medals?
Well, I know for those of you who follow Sam, you'll be aware that she has been after the Lego Eiffel Tower, and she has now started pitching that as her would be. She said it would be a perfect bronze medal stand for her bronze medal. So she's been after Lego to try to get some sort of cross promotional endorsement, or to see if they'll send her a set. I think she kind of knows how the Lego Ambassadors Network works, so she's trying to
Got to work with what you got, right?
Hey, exactly. So it's really funny to watch her kind of make those efforts, because it's really, I think, done in a way that is very lighthearted, very coming from a place of a lot of passion, which is exciting to see. So anyways, digression over, Sam had mentioned that as an athlete that Lego was something that she used to help her after her games in her recovery process, and it just really helped her with her own mindfulness and mental health. And so I thought that was really cool to see, and especially in the context of all of these athletes performing, from all over the world, performing at this incredibly high level, but also too, just digging a little bit deeper into the therapeutic benefits of Lego from that perspective, right? Grinch, you work a high tempo job that's keeping you, fairly busy during the week. I work a high tempo job that keeps me fairly busy during the week. We have both gravitated to Lego as a either purposefully as a therapeutic benefit, or maybe unconsciously, attracted to Lego in that capacity too. So I felt like this was something that we were both very interested in as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I will share just something Sam posted real quick, and then Grinch, I'll turn it back over to you for kind of the rest of this. But she said, I can't say it enough, Lego changed my life. Mental health as an athlete is one of the most important parts of the game, and it's so important to find an outlet that works for you. For me, it's Lego. As a professional athlete, I'm on my feet moving constantly. So for a while, I was stuck in the doom scrolling phase of coming home and just getting on social media. That led to a lot of overthinking once I got home about mistakes in practice, nerves making the next roster. She said, until I was in Barnes and Nobles and saw Lego sets, they were beautiful and intricated, and I decided it might be fun to buy one. And now I come home from practice and enjoy relaxing, eating with Lego with my partner, and it's quite literally changed how I feel on and off the pitch. That comes from a interview she gave or shared with Brick Fanatics, and that's posted on their website. we'll post that up, the link to that article on our Instagram page. But yeah, she's just kind of mentioning how this has helped her. So Grinch, for you, have you found have you kind of had a similar experience with respect
Mhm.
to Lego?
Yeah, I mean, I love building with Lego just because if for me it offers a as somebody who has ADHD, it offers a physical way to interact with something. Whereas, like, if you're just watching a movie, I like video games for similar reason. This goes a step further though because it's actually tactile and you can actually feel the bricks as you're and putting it together and like, oh, I'm building it. You know, it's in front of you. It's not just virtual. But it offers you a way to kind of almost shut down your mind a little bit, right? Because like sometimes when you get into a cycle of overthinking or being overstimulated or something like that, because you had a long day at work, you just need to like sit down and recharge, but you're thinking about how a meeting went, you're thinking about how the day went and what you could be doing better or how you shouldn't have done something some one way and maybe done another way. Like it's better to just shut that all down. You know, you're probably not going to have a productive like self-talk session you know, right before bed, and you're going to wind yourself up. So for me, it certainly has been beneficial because not only is it something to distract your mind, but it also physically distracts you because you have to like put the pieces together and build the pieces, and that kind of helps you unwind, helps you kind of refocus, and then also, you know, similar to like cooking a meal, right? For those that hate to cook, like look at cooking your dinner every night in a similar way of like a methodical like start to finish process. I'm going to follow the directions, follow a recipe, and then I'm going to, you know, reap the benefit at the end because I'm going to put together this really nice meal and then I'm going to be able to enjoy it, right? So same thing with the Lego set. You're going to start it, you know, build it together piece by piece. You're going to play with the small little play features and then kind of reap the benefits of actually building it. So that's kind of been my experience. What about you, West?
Yeah, I mean, definitely something similar. I will say, I think right now, and this sort of gets outside the scope of our conversation with Lego. I feel probably more like Sam Sullivan pre Lego, where I am using a lot of social media to fill my time, and have found myself like naturally picking up my phone to go and look at something to keep my mind stimulated. Uh,
Oh, dude, it's so bad. Do you ever just like walk through your house with your phone and you're just like, what am I doing
or
right
yeah,
now?
I'll
Like, I
pick it
gotta like
up
put my phone
and I'll
down.
like
Like,
find myself on Instagram like without even thinking about it, and then I'm like, what am I doing? Like I'm just, it's like so reflexive, and it kind of surprises you and scares you a little bit.
mm-hmm.
What I will say is, you know, right now I don't have a lot of Lego in front of me. We're moving. I left actually a good chunk of it back home. Um, in fact, I left all of it back home, or back at our previous location where we moved from. And so I have bought a couple of sets.
Where did you leave it, by the way? I'll go check
What's
on
the
it for you.
address? Yeah, yeah. Um, I have bought a couple sets since arriving, and it has been really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's definitely more ways to engage in the hobby than necessarily just building something, and so we'll talk about that a little bit later in the discussion today. But I think there's other ways that I can engage with it that help me, because I think you hit the nail on the head, right? Of like one of the things that makes Lego so helpful in terms of like building up that mindfulness, and that's, you have both this visual connection with what you're doing, but then you have a physical connection with what you're doing, right? And so in terms of like something that's stimulating, it's extremely stimulating, but it's also keeping you really busy, and I think that's what's important,
Right.
right? Whereas like something like social media, like you're just staring at your phone,
Just
scrolling,
blankly staring
scrolling.
and.
You know, you're usually not doing anything else other than that, right? So you're not really
Mm-hmm.
doing anything productive, and but you're also not getting the feeling of accomplishment either for when you finish your Lego set, or you've built, you know, you've completed the next bag, or you've completed a tricky step or something. And so you're getting the engagement, but you're not getting those dopamine hits. Well, and you
Right.
are with social media, and there's plenty of studies that show this, and this is not the topic for the day, but those dopamine hits are usually in areas where that don't necessarily build towards positive mental health or
Right.
resiliency. they usually undermine strong resiliency and mental health. So it definitely kind of contributes to the problem, not necessarily the solution. That is social media. Um, but anyways, we're talking
So,
about Lego. So
speaking of Lego, what are some other ways that, outside of Sam Sullivan, where else have you heard of people kind of recommending or using, or some of the other benefits of using Lego as a kind of therapeutic mean?
yeah, so I went and researching for the episode. I was kind of looking up Legos as a therapeutic means. I haven't found any uh, peer-reviewed papers on this yet. I'd be
Hmm.
curious to see if anything exists that's done at the wouldn't even call it like doctorate level, right? But like at the academic level of review or study. But I did find an article from Mike Savage, the CEO of 1-800 Accounting, on a website called Medium, and we've shared some content. It's effectively a blog, um, a collection of articles, long form articles that people can contribute to. And Michael highlighted he's a longtime adult fan of Lego, successful CEO of a company, this accounting company, right? And he was highlighting all the different ways that Lego, or in the title of his article, right, the psychology of Lego, how building blocks boosts creativity and learning. And so some of the things that he discussed were constructive play and creativity, right? And so he mentioned that, hey, Lego, building with Lego improves your spatial skills, problem solving. And because Lego itself has limitless possibilities for what you can create and build, right, it really helps expand your own creativity. You can also use Lego in education, right, with STEAM learning, teamwork, programming, and robotics, right, just to name a few. He also notes that the role that Lego can have in your imagination, and that's building a sense of
Hmm.
storytelling, but also a little bit of empathy and perspective. And then finally, he kind of hones in on the benefits towards adults of building Lego. One of those is stress reduction, right? And then that was something Sam had mentioned.
Right.
Mindfulness, boosting your creativity and memory improvement. And I feel like those are definitely things that you and I have experienced as well, right? With respect to
Right.
the stress reduction, the mindfulness. Do you feel like it boosts your creativity, or have you felt more creative when you're building with Lego?
I mean, you know, and one thing we can definitely talk about, I don't know if we have a whole episode worth to talk about it, but Lego, or we probably do actually, but Lego is definitely an art form,
Mm-hmm.
right? Nowadays, like just like it's just your choice of, do I use colored pencils? Do I use paint? Do I use graphic design, right? Like, do I use Lego? Like you can, like you've seen that with Lego art, Lego Mosaic, you see it at brick conventions all the time of like people using Lego as an art form. So I definitely think it harbors creativity, and anytime you harbor creativity, I think you, when you open yourself up to be, express yourself, that definitely helps you boost your creativity for sure.
I think I sometimes struggle with Lego a little bit with creativity, to be honest. I sometimes feel the limitation of the medium,
Hmm.
and that almost discourages me rather than encourages
It
me.
can be a little frustrating sometimes where you're like, oh, I can't make that perfect angle.
But I also think that that's something that's internal. And by recognizing that, I think it still is
Yeah.
providing a bit of a benefit that I'm like, oh, why? It's a little bit of like self interrogation of like, why am I disappointed in what I've put together? Or, why does it upset me that this is not perfectly minifigure scale or to scale or whatever? And I'm just like, dude, it's like chill. Things don't need to
It's
be
Lego,
perfect.
bro.
Things don't need to be perfect, right? Like I've always loved, we've talked about this a little bit in the podcast, when on Lego Masters, the brick masters will say it provides a suggestion of something, right? And what that really
Hmm.
is it's an opening for you to use your creativity or imagination to fill in the blanks. And that's something I think Lego designers are really good at, that kind of separates Lego designers, like the actual Lego designers away from just like mock builders. Mock builders and sometimes people online that I see are really striving to include as much detail as possible or make things
Right.
as perfect as possible. And some people achieve, a degree of Lego building that is like, wow, this is, you're truly just sculpting at this point. But at the same time too, things don't always have to be perfect, and that's okay. And it doesn't always have to be represented in the Lego form. And we talked about that a little bit in our scale episode. And I think understanding that and being comfortable letting go a little bit is one of the things that Lego helps with respect to mindfulness. And
It's interesting that you say you feel a little bit confined by Lego scale sometimes, because I mean, we've kind of memed about it a little bit on the show, but like whenever you look at a modular, you're always like, "Oh, I could exchange this piece for this one, or I could exchange it for that one, or oh my gosh, like we should go I should go update this with this new piece that makes it work better." And I'm like, "Don't touch the modular, it's perfect." So it's don't sell yourself short, West. I think you definitely
oh,
you know, see, it definitely boosts your creativity sometimes.
fair enough. Fair enough. Michael also writes that Lego has transcended its status as a children's toy and evolved into a powerful tool for creativity, learning, and relaxations at all stages of life. From fostering imagination and problem solving skills in children to promoting stress reduction and mindfulness in adults, Lego's appeal is timeless and universal. And I think that's a really great kind of footnote there. Again, this is sort of an op-ed from Michael Savage, but I think it's a nice kind of uh, summary of kind of his point
Hmm.
here, and I would definitely agree. So
So I feel like when it's come to Lego, it'll be curious to see what kind of comes out in the next, I don't know, 2 3 years, because Lego has typically been like really focused um on like the STEM benefit, right? The
mm-hmm.
learning creativity benefits of Lego. And now that Lego is marketed more towards adults and even have started to, take some of these therapeutic claims to the next level, it'll be interesting to see kind of, you mentioned you can't really find any primary sources on a lot of these things, but I wonder, that takes a long time to do, right? So I wonder if, in 2 3 years, Psychology Today or somebody like that will pick up on this and have a more meaningful and more impactful article on this, versus just kind of, a lot of, people people with higher status like an Olympian or a CEO, them claiming an anecdotal benefit. I wonder if, in a couple of years, Lego will themselves also start to claim this. Is there any way that you've kind of seen Lego lean into this?
Well, I have, and I want to put a disclaimer here that I have not actually had an opportunity yet to kind of peruse the academic databases that might pull some of these
Okay.
articles. So my alumni database access right now is hidden, or not hidden, but I need to get that squared away with access, before was able to, before I'm able to actually give that a good look. But I did not see anything in some cursory searches online. So I'm sure somebody has mentioned it, but I do remember, Grinch, do you remember our dad talking about this years ago when we were little about walking into offices, these corporate offices, and this was in the 90s, and seeing
Hmm.
like bins of Lego put out for people to use as like a stress reliever?
I must have been too young. I don't remember
Okay,
that.
I remember him talking about that, and he would even come home and build with us, build like cities
Right.
and stuff, bridges and those kind of things. And so that,
That combine, that red combine, do you remember
I
that?
don't remember was that a Lego?
Yeah, he built it out of Lego. It was really good.
Oh, I don't remember the combine.
That he built, we started working on it, and then I went to somebody's birthday party, and then I came back, and like I was like, "Are we gonna go build it?" And he's like, "No, I'm done." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, let's go look at it." And it was pretty good.
Nice, nice. No, I remember the towers and stuff we'd build, and
Hmm.
so he was definitely using it from that capacity too, of a little bit of way to unwind. But I haven't seen anything else. Grinch, do you know of any themes within Lego that kind of lean towards this?
Well, there's the Lego Serious Play theme, and it was so funny because when I've this has been around for a little bit, and I think it's still available today. Um, I remember just like coming back into Lego out of my dark age. I was like scrolling on Lego.com one day, and I was like, what is this theme? Serious Play, and I like click on it, and I'm like, what is what is this? And it was just, I mean, like horrendous price to part ratio, like, but it was just supposed to be like all axles and stuff like that. So it was more of a education focused Lego set. And Lego Education has existed before too, where they actually made Lego Education kits. I used one in fourth grade when we started talking about like simple machines in science class.
Mm-hmm. I remember those too. Yeah, the just like the little kits with Technic, and that was kind of the first Mindstorm products I believe were actually developed for like STEM education,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly. So, which I don't remember if Mindstorm is still continued today or if it's not.
They had the Mindstorm boost, right? The last time we um we got anything,
Yeah, I think
but
so.
I don't think they've come out with anything Mindstorm related in a long time.
Yeah. What's fascinating though, if you see creators online, one of the things that they're doing is using, for example, like with the trains, people are using Python and code designed for those Lego train motors. Pi Bricks is a very popular one, and they're like rebuilding the train motors with this code so that, like, for example, you can connect multiple train motors to each other and have one be the primary train motor that tells the other ones what to do using
Hmm.
Bluetooth. And so, for example, instead of linking them up to multiple channels on remote controls, like on your remote control or your cell phone, it's just all linked together. And then they've changed the way that the trains will accelerate so it's a little smoother and more realistic. And so there's a team on YouTube who actually has used light sensors from Mindstorms and designed train track with different colored bricks at either end. And it's just it's not a loop, right? And so the train moves one direction until it hits the color of brick and this color sensor triggers, and then it stops the train and then reverses. And then it goes the other direction until it hits the other brick. And it's just like this really cool way that
Hmm.
they've built this in. But we're definitely digressing a little bit.
People use that in GBC a lot too.
Yeah, yeah. So that's really cool to see. So yeah, there's that serious play theme, which looks like online. It just looks like a bunch of pieces, right? Like,
Yeah.
so we were joking, if or not joking, if you go online and look up the serious play themes, they do have some gnarly price to piece or part to piece ratios.
Price to part
Price to
ratio.
part ratios. One of them is like 2,800 pieces for almost $800. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, but I think it's because it comes with like Duplo elephants and base plates.
Yes, yes. And if Jang were here, he'd remind us that those are a lot more expensive to create, and therefore they drive up the price of the set. So
True that.
thank you,
But
thank you,
yeah,
Jang.
no, these are weird because they, yeah, I don't know.
I
It seems like a little bit of corporate gouging to me, but
Yeah, it does note on there too that um, there are licensed serious play like practitioners, that Lego will like license you to be a serious play person.
hmm.
And so I think I saw on there it said like, hey, if you're a licensed serious play facilitator and you need more than what we're able to offer you just like online, like you need to buy this in bulk, like let us know and we can make something happen. So
Seems like there's some HR program out there or some school program or something like that.
yeah, which I'd be curious if any of our listeners have had any experience with serious play. I do think I've had some experience with it, and I got a little kit. It was really small. It had like a very basic minifigure with no printing on it and just like a regular face, and then just a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of random pieces. And we used it to build different things and kind of talk about. It was sort of a way to talk about creativity, and it was a good experience, but I don't think we leaned into it as much as we could have. It was kind of like a 2 hour thing, and then we were done. And it was for a
Okay.
1 week program that we were doing, but I did feel like we could have maybe done.
You were there for 1 week and you only did it for 2 hours?
Yeah, yeah. So
Ouch.
could have been a nice way to open up every session in the morning. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways that I think we could have leaned in on that, but it was like a $15 poly bag basically. I mean, it wasn't
Mm.
like a huge kit by any means. So they ended up all just getting mixed into my pieces. So
So, one big way, and we've kind of talked around it, we've kind of talked to it a little bit, but mindfulness, right? Can you kind of tell the listeners what mindfulness is and kind of, we don't have to go too much into the therapeutic benefits of mindfulness, but what is it?
yeah, so mindfulness, and this definition is actually pulled from another article I found by the folks over at DD Bricks. And it's the practice of being fully present and engaged in the moment, aware of our thoughts and feelings without distraction or judgment, right? So basically, putting your attention towards a singular objective, that's the fully present part and engaged. And then just sort of aware of like how that's making us feel in the moment as well. So
Right.
it's not just doing something with your full attention. It's also being aware of how you uh, react and respond to that too. So you're
Mm-hmm.
doing your work, reading a book for school, getting homework done isn't necessarily mindfulness. That's just getting something done, right? So it's kind of
Right.
taking that next step.
Right.
And I did, when I thought about this, one of the things that my mind went to right away actually was the practice of using labyrinths. And this is actually an ancient practice that we were introduced to when we were teenagers. And it was something actually that we talked about in high school. And labyrinths are these paths that are created, and you'll actually find them in cathedrals and hospitals. If any of our listeners go to a hospital at any time, hopefully it's not for an emergency. But if you're while you're there, look to see if you can find a labyrinth, because they have them either done in tile on the floor or out in like a courtyard. And I remember visiting the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C., and seeing one out actually outside that they had planted a little garden around. And the purpose of the labyrinth, and this is from a BBC article, and the labyrinth is a sure path in an unpredictable time. And this is Reverend Dr. Lauren Artris. Um, and it's her goal. She has founded a nonprofit organization to pepper the planet with labyrinths. But really, kind of the point here, right, is like you get into it, you start a labyrinth, and you just walk this path, and it takes you through, this area, changes your perspective, and gives you an opportunity to sort of facilitate mindfulness. And I thought that I was like, well, that's kind of like Lego, right? Like you're starting an
Mm-hmm.
instruction book, you know what the end is going to be. It's a singular path if you're following the instructions with these little different, curves and turns along the way. And so, labyrinths have been this ancient activity we've done for years to facilitate mindfulness. Lego is just kind of a next iteration of that in my mind. And so that was something that I saw that kind of stood out for me, and could help explain to listeners like how um, how that works from that process, right? Is you when
Right.
you're building a set, you kind of shut your brain off and you just work on pieces and stuff. So yeah, do you kind of feel similarly about that, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, kind of like I was talking about earlier with the the kind of methodical step by step process of building a Lego set, right? And then, having that payoff at the end of like, oh, look, I built this, or like, oh, look at this little play feature that I built, or and like, sure, you're following instructions, but um, like for some of us, you can sometimes get stressed out by not being able to make the perfect angle or something like that, kind of like we talked about. So if you're looking to unwind, sometimes some people like to take the total creative outlet of like, I just want to express myself through Lego bricks, and sometimes you just want to do something with Lego bricks, right? And they're both different ways to have a mindful experience. It's just depending on kind of what you need.
Yeah, are there any other ways that we can engage in Lego to kind of um, facilitate that opportunity to open ourselves up to mindfulness?
I think you talked about one too not too long ago with your experience with kind of taking apart the Millennium Falcon
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
just kind of like deconstruction, right? Whereas like it's still you still almost have the same benefit of putting it together. You're obviously going the opposite direction.
But towards a goal that is understood and that is it's a sure path, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not towards building it; it's towards putting it away. So
Right.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things I was just thinking about here when I mentioned like I don't have a ton of Lego in front of me right now, but nothing says I can't take apart a set and rebuild it, right? Uh,
There you go.
is there anything in the
Also, nothing says you can't go get more Lego.
That's true too. Don't, although my wife might disagree, so Mrs. West might shake her head a little bit.
We call her East.
Only when she doesn't like Lego.
Only when she goes the opposite direction of you.
Um, boom. Uh, Gotta catch up to my train of thought after that one.
That was a good one. It was a good. I did you want to leave us on a last note here?
Yes, getting there.
Okay.
Is there any other way to engage in the building process that you have seen that helps with mindfulness or kind of slows things down? Or because I don't know about you, but like for somebody who's been building Lego for a long time, if you were to put a set in front of me, and I'm not like a speed builder by any means, but I can do it fairly quickly and not put a lot of
Oh yeah. I
energy
mean,
into that.
like I'll do a set that has twice as many pieces as my wife and finish before her still.
Yeah, but Mrs. Grinch has not built a lot of Lego, and it's just not something.
She's built her fair share,
Fair enough.
but
I've
yes.
given her,
Yes.
but
I can like I'll mirror build sometimes too cuz like I'm like okay, I know this is a times 2. It's not doesn't say times 2 on here, but I know I have to do the exact same thing just opposite, so I'll just mirror build it.
yeah.
So I guess you could call me advanced.
Okay, okay. One of the things that I will do is I'll sort the pieces from each bag, and I've seen that people talk about that as a way
Hmm.
of just kind of again adding another layer of just turning your brain off and working something
Yeah.
right. And I actually I don't do that every single time I build, but I was doing that with the modulars, and I was using the eggshell containers from the um,
Holiday advent calendar.
advent calendars, yeah, and that was really nice to use those to sort Lego, and it almost like doubled the time it took for me to build something, which I really actually liked because if I'm left to my
Hmm.
own devices, I'll usually try to find a way to go through it a lot faster. So,
I don't have the patience for that. I don't know how you do that.
so I did want to kind of leave one last little note here. From the same DD Bricks article, they say Lego building in particular offers a unique opportunity to blend creativity with relaxation. It provides a tangible sense of accomplishment once a structure is completed, boosting feelings of satisfaction and contentment. Additionally, the repetitive nature of handling and fitting together Lego bricks can be inherently meditative, similar to the effects of knitting or coloring. This not only helps in reducing mental clutter, but also aids in fostering moment to moment awareness that is central to mindfulness. So I think that sums that up really nicely. Now,
Yeah.
I don't think the people from DD Bricks are necessarily licensed mental health professionals. So I think this is, again, their findings on this subject, but they are just another Lego blog. Well, not just another Lego blog, but they are a Lego blog. But I do think that kind of is striking on the same experience that I have seen, and is something that you've reported as well. So
Yep. 100%.
nice. Well, Grace,
All right. So
any final thoughts?
I think that wraps up our main topic for this week. Feels weird to be done with the main topic before an hour, but alas, here we are. Let's move over to our next section. And what are we building? So, West, what are you building this week? What are we building? All right, Wes. So, what have you been building this week? You better have something because I was on vacation, so I don't have much.
I do actually. I went back and forth on something to build this week. I went with the smaller model, ultimately, purchase and build, I should say. But I got the new Lego City excavator and
Oh,
put that
nice.
together. And I gotta say, that is a wonderful model. So cool. The sides of it on the build, there's a lot of studs not on top building. There's a lot of great studs on the side construction with the actual
Mm-hmm.
boom of the excavator itself, the arm. Proportionally, it's sized really well. Lego just knocked this one out of the park. I truly think that if they tried to make a more accurate version of this, that I mean, I'm sure someone could, but this is like 90% of the way there. It's like, in my mind, it's like a perfect Lego model because it gives you just enough detail that you're like, I got exactly what this thing is. But there's
Mm-hmm.
some really cool play features. The engine pops out of the back. The They used a new Technic fender piece that was on, I think, the Land Rover, Technic Land Rover, done in black, which actually is to the same scale and um, shaping. It has the same geometry of the cheese wedge plates, and I didn't know that. And so it's a
Which
cheese.
piece?
Let me show you. Let me show you.
Oh, he's going to get something. I have no idea how far away this is from West Desk, so I'm going to continue to talk so the listeners don't tune out. Um, I think I hear Wes coming back, and he's
Okay,
here.
I'm back. Now, for the listeners, I'm going to try to describe this as well as I can. For the viewers, I'm showing you the model. So there was the little base of it where the engine pops out, or the container. But in black, it's the ring that goes above the top back of the model. And it is a fender piece in Technic, but it's actually the same geometry as the cheese slope. And so it's a cheese slope piece that kind of looks like a U. And I just didn't know that it was done to that like specification. So it's a really great design. They actually use opaque windows from the Speed Champions lines to do the sides, which looks really cool. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a great little model. They've got those great pneumatic pieces on there. Like I said, the scaling is done really well. The minifigures are really cool. There's these two construction torsos in reddish orange that are brand new. It's just a good model. If anyone is thinking about building out a construction site in their Lego city, this is definitely one to get, and it will blend in really well with more detailed cities. So very exciting to build, and 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Nice. Nice. Um, well, as I said, I was on vacation enjoying the rainy beach. So I did not build much, unfortunately, even though it sounds like the perfect time to build something, because I was just spending indoor time with the in-laws, playing games. Shout out to Phase 10 if anybody likes Phase 10 that listens. But I will be working on the Auspicious Dragon for this week. I didn't do much work on my display area either because I'm actually going to Vegas in a couple days for a work trip, and we'll be out there for most of next week. So that's what I built, or rather did not build this week. But yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to our brick mail. Brick mail. So for brick mail this week, we had one person reach out to us on the Instagram. It's Mav Brick, so you can also follow on Instagram. They said, just wanted to let you know, great job with the podcast. I enjoyed your last episode. Keep up the good work and to continue to inspire and build. Mav Bricks was also the one that shared the news about the, Asmodi. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Asmodi.
I mean, hopefully, because that's the way we've been.
Asmode.
Asmade.
Asmade. Potato. With the new board game partnership. So thank you, Matt Bricks, for sharing, and we will definitely continue to work and inspire and build.
Maybe it's like a Mazdi, like somebody saying like a Mazda, but like a Mazdi.
Nah, not with where the S is, right? ASMODEE.
Oh yeah, never mind.
Maybe it's Asmode.
Listeners,
but shout out. Shout out to Matt Bricks, who also makes great Lego memes as well.
Yeah, find them on Instagram. They're pretty funny.
Yeah. All right, and that's a wrap of another episode of AFOLs Welcome. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you are listening to this show. If you'd like to write the podcast, please email us at afolswelcome@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram at AFOLs Welcome. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.